Ukraine has fought valiantly against Russian aggression, but some of the limitations on the very significant supports being supplied by the United States and by all the NATO and European allies, as well as Canada, the limitations placed on the use of those weapons has limited Ukraine's ability to defend itself. I think what was announced yesterday is an appropriate, proportional, and necessary response to the increased challenges that Ukraine is facing. And it's very important that we work collectively and act in a multilateral response as well. There is a very important dialogue taking place among the Ukraine Defense Contact Group, among our G7 and NATO allies, among all the nations who are supporting Ukraine, and we are all keenly interested in finding new ways to support them.
The goal is to find a way to peace for Ukraine. Is that realistic in your view without Russia in the room?
I think it's very important that Ukraine have an opportunity. I've had conversations with President Zelensky and members of his team, and yes, our Prime Minister has made a commitment that he will be present at that peace summit. I think enabling Ukraine to articulate the conditions that will create stability, security, and safety for the people of Ukraine, I think is very important discussion. I think as if we can come to an agreement on what those conditions are, it gives us something more in common to work towards. I hope that it will produce an outcome.
Do you think that Russia should be in the room, though?
Well, I think ultimately Russia will have to come to an agreement, but I think there's enormous strength in the alliances that President Zelensky has built right around the world, and his advocacy has been, I think, compelling and very effective in helping unite many of us in a common purpose of working towards supporting Ukraine to that ultimate victory and through peace. I think eventually, I hope that coalition of partners, that united purpose that Zelensky is building around the world, will be a compelling reason for Russia to come to the table and to bring about a peaceful resolution of the conflict.
China also very much present at the security conference, and in an address to delegates Sunday, China's new defense minister Dong Jun emphasizing Taiwan is still the core issue for Beijing, while warning external forces could get in the way of a peaceful reunification. Meantime, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. also raised concerns about Chinese aggression in the South China Sea. Take a listen. All right, we'll have that soundbite for you a little bit later. Meantime, Australia's Defense Minister Richard Marles also talked about the country's ties with China. Here is a slice of our first on CNBC conversation.
Well, firstly, Australia values a constructive relationship with China, and we have been seeking to stabilise our relationship with China, and we've seen real progress in that, and we really greatly appreciate it. And as I say, what we want is the maintenance of a rules-based order in this region, but around the world, of course, but in this region, which has been so important to driving enormous economic growth in the region, which has benefited both China and Australia. China is a great power. I mean, we look to China to act responsibly, and we look to China to be a country which does maintain that rules-based order, and that's really been our message to the world. We see China has done so much to contribute to the growth and the economic prosperity of this region and Australia as well, but the rules-based order must be maintained.
How would you characterise the China-Australia relationship now? What is the biggest takeaway after the last few years, after many had characterised a campaign of economic coercion coming from Beijing?
Well, I think we've stabilised the relationship, and that's a lot of effort on the part of Australia, but China as well. But there are security anxieties in the relationship, and there's no point in hiding that. And so, the way we describe this is obviously cooperating where we can, but disagreeing where we must. And there are times where we do disagree, and we need to speak plainly and clearly about that. And mentioned earlier about the need for interactions between our two militaries to happen in a manner which is safe and professional. That has been something that has been of concern to us. But the fact that we are able to meet and talk is a very, very different world to what it was 2 years ago when that first started happening again. And so we can take some optimism from that.